Hi, welcome back. It's been a time since I've recorded anything, um, but I wanted to give you a quick update. I'm still working through all of the commission stuff that I've been working through, and it's kind of down to the wire now. The first production piece that I'm doing is next Saturday, and I'm kind of focusing on that and throughout this weekend to like finish the costume, really get the script down and rehearse it. Um, I think I'm happy with the improv style that I'm going for. But there are some pieces that need to be kind of fully set and memorized. So I have recorded those so that I can go about my errands today and work on memorizing those, which I find to be a good trick. If you've got Line Learner for actors, if you've got Line Learner, you can use voice memos, which is also free. But Line Learner is great because if you have like dialogue and it's good for that kind of stuff. But I just have like they're kind of like in a metered style, but it's essentially prose. It's not like it's anything fancy. I don't really think of myself as a poet in that way. So I have to memorize those. I want to just kind of figure out the situation of actually making all the maps and everything that I make for it, and I'll show that process along. One thing I forgot to record is part of the costume is also part of the art installation. So the concept is basically recreating new mythologies that are kind of like they're in the same style as myths that we're already familiar with, but there's like something different about them and that they're new. They kind of encompass like modern concepts and modern issues that are also a little bit timeless. It's That's like kind of the point, right? So, and also incorporating just like physically weaving in new constellations. So, what that meant was I wanted something that could double as like an art piece and also become wearable. So, the thing that I didn't show, and I just forgot to record it because it was late last night, and I just wanted to get it done because it's a lot of things are down to the wire here. Um, I did two things. One, I just put some fabric on like a gold headband that'll be part of the costume. But the other thing is I wanted something that could be like an astrology map and also a garment. So I took an old, maybe let me grab it real quick. Okay. Okay, hi. So let me see, where could I put this thing? I'm just gonna try not to hit a bunch of stuff. No, I go the other way. Okay, that should be fine. So the point is that eventually it will look like, if you're familiar with like old astronomy maps where they have like they'll like map out like kind of latitude away from a central focus. Um, so I'm going to be doing that as a base with some really thick white embroidery floss, and then just kind of like pre-creating some images that are like constellations and also including stars with like little seeds and everything. And then it will be on this, which I'm actually quite proud of that it was so easy to do this. So this was just an old bed sheet that I got from a thrift store, and the plan was to use it for some mock-up fabrics. And then it was way too long, so I just cut it in half and then had some extra left over. And so I used that leftover to make a pull tab. And the way this works is that it needs to be able to be flat so I can actually stitch onto it while it's hanging. And then I will have some magnets that I will adhere to the bottom because there's some metal elements in the space I'll be performing in. And then once I'm done with it, it's like a way oversized thing. And both sides are like this. There's like a center point that keeps it in. And this is the fully extended with the tab, so I can use this to kind of hang it onto stuff. I can then, like an expandable gathered skirt, it is now part of my outfit for the evening. So after all the performances are done, I can instead of just doing what I usually do, which is change out of a costume and um, then go about the night, I can then just kind of yank the skirt onto the dress and like tie it onto the dress that I'm wearing and just kind of go about my evening and not have to worry about changing or changing my makeup or anything like that. So that's the plan for that. And that I just finished last night. But all I did was the sheets already had this like panel here at the top. You know how the tops of sheets have like little fold over areas. So I just took advantage of that when I was making this double. I doubled the skirt over, sewed it right sides together. That you can't tell because the lighting in here is basically the middle of the night here, even though it's morning and I'm not dealing with it. There's like no natural light in this room, but maybe you can see here. I then understitched the back of this stitch that I put together so that it wouldn't fold over. And to understitch, you just sew along the edge of the seam on the side of the wrong side of your garment, just so that it doesn't like flip over. I knew that I was going to have to do a lot of pulling and pushing of it, so understitching seemed like a good idea. And then I then top stitched along the side so that they wouldn't just like open and billow about, because I didn't want that. And then I have some purse magnets that I'm just going to quickly just like stitch in a couple places so that I can just clip them out and remove them, because I want the skirt to match along the slit of the dress that I have. I don't want the magnets to be there because then they'll just close it together and it looks weird. So if I can easily clip those out and put them away so I can reuse them at a later date, that's ideal for me. I then inserted the tie that I made also of this sheet fabric. And then because it was late and I didn't want to pull out the sewing machine, I just inserted the tie into the opening that sewing this created and sewing along this bottom here created. And then centered it, made sure it was aligned, and then backstitched this by hand, just so that there's a center point that it goes to and it keeps both sides relatively even. I just did that along the center of the sheet, or sheet over skirt is what I'm calling it. And then this is the same on the other side. So this is the other side of the tie here. This is actually with it fully extended. So I cut off so that I have a few inches so that I can either adhere magnets to this or some sort of like Velcro pad action. I have a walkthrough of the space today, so I'll get like a final feel of what it's supposed to look like so that I can know what I need to add to get everything to adhere to the actual performance space. The original idea was to also have like a tulle skirt that had like basted old night astronomy maps on it. I found that like, because I don't work with tulle very often, I didn't do the cutting right and I can't redo it. So I'm gonna cut that out and just put some stitches in throughout the tulle to represent like astronomy maps and everything. And that'll be decor for the room. I also have some like spare chiffon, some spare like thrifted valances. I have plenty of like kind of fabrics and everything to really help with that. I might see about going to the thrift store today to see like what small decoration-y pieces I could add. I really want to stick with like twinkling elements, not like lights, but things that like when light is shone on them, they give the illusion of twinkle. Anything that kind of gives linear star constellation work, things that I could either stitch into the sheer fabrics that I have or that I can use to hang them. So that's the point today, when I'm going to just work on lines while I go get supplies for that because I don't know what the limitation is. And then I have my walkthrough today. So all good work. The wedding stuff is coming along. I just have some things to kind of do some finishing touches on everything before I do that. I just kind of want to keep that back real quick. And then I have everything else. So, but this week we're focusing on the performance piece so that I can get that out of the way because that's next Saturday. And this is like kind of where it's down to the wire where I need to get it memorized so I can actually rehearse it on my own. Yeah, so that's the quick update. Oh, if you're local to Cleveland, because I'm just gonna post this today. It is for Pandemonium at Cleveland Public Theater. The piece is called "The Making of a New Night Sky," and it's gonna be there's like this area that has like green. They call them greenhouses, and that's what they are. But they're like little hutches that have like plastic backing, and there's just like this enclosed area where you can perform. So, I will be in one of those, and then yeah, that's what I'm excited for. I've never done a piece for Pandemonium before. I have performed for Pandemonium for years, but this is the first time I've actually submitted something on my own. So yeah, this a lot of the stuff that I need to do right now is just hand stitching. So I'm gonna work on that and put this away. And yeah, that's a quick update. We're just yeah. What else? I do need to also work on. I'm debating because I really want to wear shapewear for this wedding guest dress that I'm working on. And for that reason, I've debated whether I want to do a one shoulder look and how do I deal with the shapewear of it all with a one shoulder look and how do I get it to stay for hours on end. But I just love that one shoulder with that dupata and it just looks so cool. And I really want that in the silk that I have. So my goal is to also at the very least get a final, like start doing the patterning for that so I can do the mock-up for the one shoulder bit and see what I want to do at the top. I just haven't gotten to sew for like fun recently. So that's like the goal is to like find out how I can sew for fun soon. I really want to. I will have a lot of time off from like my main job between like Labor Day and also the week of the ceremony. I'm taking that whole week off because it's also my birthday that week. So we'll see. We'll figure it out. Yeah, there's a lot to do. Not a lot of time to do it. It's also like hard to keep it organized because every time I clean this dang office, it also gets extremely messy the minute I start working in it again. And does everyone else have that problem? Please let me know down below. Okay, just a quick little sit down talking with you about this vibe for now. Yeah, bye.